let me love you.
Hey you guys, it's Midnight here, back for another video, and today I wanted to talk about season 2, and season 3 of Remarried Empress. And so, for starters, I want to get into the characters, and if you guys have not already, please do watch my earlier video of Remarried Empress season 1, just so that you can get an understanding of how I feel about the main characters. But so far, we have like two new main characters. We have Krista, and we have Alan. Krista is King Horton's wife, and also Hangley's sister-in-law. Then you have Alan, who is Rasta's baby daddy, and also Viscount Roteshu's son. Okay, so I do want to go ahead and talk about like the highlights of season 2 and season 3. And season 2 was pretty short, as it was mainly like filler chapters, filler episodes and whatnot. So yeah, the first thing I do want to talk about is obviously the wedding, starting off with Ross's wedding. As someone who has read the novel, I have to say that Rasta and Sovieshu's wedding was very much what I had imagined. Rasta's wedding, her wedding dress was terrible. Like, it was very much what I imagined. Something very, like, cutesy, obviously, because Rasta does have, like, an innocent nature to herself. Very innocent, childish, like, nature to herself. But the dress was just like, oh my god, it was so ugly. Like, the way that she decorated herself in so much like accessories and jewelries and all that stuff was just like, girl, why? And the thing that even killed me was how Sovieshu had told her, like, when they were like riding through the town on the sedan chair, he even told her to like take it off. Like, he looked at her, like he glared at her like in a menacing look and told her to take it off because she looked ridiculous. Like, I was like, period. Like, I think that's one thing me and Sophie can agree on. Whoa. Now, the biggest thing, like I said, girl, Rasta is gonna do what she gonna do, okay? I really, like, it irked me how she literally caused drama on her day. Literally. She literally did. Like, Navier went there to talk to her about some charity thing or whatever, because she had left money, and she was trying to explain to Rasta what to do with it. Like, detail her, like, explain to her what she needs to do with it in full detail, but also at the same time keeping like distance between the two of them, because she knows that Rasta likes attention. Rasta just, I don't know, for whatever reason, has to make things about her. And so when Rasa did the very thing that Navier had predicted, Navier had walked away and turned her back and gave Rasa like a glaring look that, like, this time she can't say that I tried to hurt her or whatever when we were, apart from one another. And so Rasa didn't even realize until Sovieshu called her out on her foolishness that they were literally far apart from each other. Like, literally, she didn't even realize that until Sovieshu made her realize that, like, Navier couldn't have hurt you when you guys were, like, barely even, like, she was barely there. Like, Navier was barely even right there for her to even lay a finger on you. Like, what are you talking about? So I really appreciated that. And I just, ooh, girl, I loved every single time that Sovieshu called Rasa out. Even in season 3, when he would like tell her several times that you're the empress, so therefore you need to act like one. And I don't understand with Rasta, the fact that it's like, you got what you wanted to be empress, and you got it. Why are you still acting like, why are you still doing mistress behavior? Why are you still acting like a mistress? Why? So yeah, that was that whole situation. Now moving on to Hangley and Navier's wedding, it was beautiful. Again, beautiful. And honestly, it was better than what I imagined, I have to say. Like the gems on her dress, all of that. So even the ceremony was freaking beautiful. I was just like, dang, must be nice. I was just like, yeah, Navier looks gorgeous. Oh, I loved it. Mm. And so, and I also want to talk about like, because I think throughout the one thing I know throughout like the chapters, especially when we're talking about like Rasta and Navier, especially, is how like Rasta is so weird to the point where it's like you can tell. And I love how like the author and like even like the illustrator, how they have like reminded like the readers like the fact that like Rasta is literally trying to emulate Navier. I'm talking about the way that she does her hair, the way that she dresses and stuff like that. She's literally trying to emulate that of Navier, and a lot of the nobles hate it. They hate it, and they not even it's not even that they hate it, but they also like think it's disgusting. Like they're very much appalled on how much Ross is trying to act like Navier. It's disgusting and repulsive. So yeah, that being one is crazy. And then on top of that too, like what else? And then ooh, the stunt. The stunt that Krista pulled. Okay, so like I said before, Krista is Hangley's sister-in-law, and also King Hortons, who is that's Hangley's brother who passed away. He was the former king. And so Krista has had a long unrequited love for Hangley. And so she went to Rasta, and she, kind of like, well, Rasta got her drunk, but because they're from two different kingdoms, two different empires, Krista was not able to recognize like what another empire's like liquor looked like, because Rasta labeled it as juice. And that's not juice. That is literally alcohol. That's liquor. So Rasta couldn't tell, I mean, Krista couldn't tell the difference. And so she drank a lot of it. And so she just, started like talking. But of course, Rasta put two and two together that she liked it, King Hangley. Um, so yeah, so she like their conversation was basically like she asked Krista, well, Navier got to remarry, so like why can't you remarry? And like Krista's response to that was like, I can remarry, but I like the person that she wants to get remarried to, which is Hangley, she can't. So yeah, it's ridiculous, very much ridiculous. And then it's like Krista doesn't even understand like the predicament that she's in, and I'll further much explain this. But like the stunt that she pulled at Navier and Hangley's wedding was freaking diabolical. I was just like, girl, you are a menace to society. Cause why? So anyway, so basically what happens is that Krista had paired up with Kaufman, and Kaufman had gave Hangley a love potion and whatnot in order to let Krista have a moment with Hangley so that she could get what she wanted. And so, of course, Kaufman knew that he had to, of course, also he had to pour both, like in the drinks, he had to pour both of them, like the love potion or whatever, so that Hangley wouldn't be suspicious. And so he took it, they both took it, and so he knew that he had to make a sacrifice. And that sacrifice for Kaufman was that he was literally alone in the woods with Rasta. And so Rasta was wearing a dress, and she was like, and again, Rasta knows that Kaufman likes Navier. So, she was like, cold. And so he gave her his little scarf looking thing. And so she was like, so, she was like, oh, thank you, whatever, whatever. And so then that's when Savichu comes, and like her initial reaction is to say, Savichu, it's not what you think. Savichu literally looked like this man looked miserable. This man looked miserable. Miserable. And so he just walked away. And so she was shocked. And she was like, why isn't he just? Mind you, this is the first time that she does this. And I'm going to actually talk about this because I feel like this is kind of disgusting. And I don't think people are talking about this. But I'm going to talk about this later. But just, hold on to that. But anyway, so yeah. So that's what happens. And then back on Krista and Hang Lee situation, Hang Lee ends up feeling dizzy. And so next minute, he's laying in Krista's lap. Then the next day after that, Kaufman goes to talk to Navier because she's noticing the difference in Hang Lee. Hang Lee is becoming a little bit more distant towards her. And so she's trying to figure like what's going on. Like something's up. And so Kaufman goes to her because he wants to have a conversation with her. And then that's when Rasta shows up, and she's like trying to make something out of nothing. She was like, oh, hey, like basically trying to give Kaufman back his scarf back or whatever. And Kaufman gives her this glare, and she ends up running away. And again, Navier doesn't even know like what's going on, like what is this about, until Kaufman, ends up saying it or whatever. So Kaufman goes and he looks at, he sees what's up with Krista and Hang Lee. And that's when Hang Lee thanks Krista for pretty much, like he doesn't thank her, but he apologizes for the inconveniencing her. Mind you, she's smiling and she's like, it's no problem. But to her dismay, what he ends up telling her is that if I'm in a situation where I'm drunk, do not, you need to send somebody to come take care of me. That's literally what he says. And so, of course, Krista's confused because in the way that he words it is that, he was drunk. That's literally what he says. That he was drunk. So she's thinking that, oh, he's saying that, I don't even know. I was just like, girl, what? I was just like, So yeah, so she's unhappy because of the fact that he was saying that, oh, he must have drunk too much or whatever. Again, the fact that he was drunk, he felt like he was drunk. And so, he tells her that, if I'm drunk like this or whatever, please do send someone to go take care of me and send me back to my room. And this is where Hang Lee's cruelness shows. You really start to show how cruel he is. So she runs away, and Kaufman, of course, overhears this conversation, and he's shocked because little does he know that Hang Lee is a mage. So he knows about magic and potions. And the reason why the potion didn't work is because they both are in love with Navier. That's why. Kaufman didn't understand the ramifications that this love potion, he didn't understand the full extent of what this love potion can do and how it works. So he didn't realize that him giving Hang Lee the potion didn't even last long. It wore off so quickly. So he didn't even realize. And then the fact that he was honest to Navier about it. So it didn't even, this whole plan was just garbage. So garbage. And then even for Krista, because she didn't even realize the ramifications that this also would have had, because now her reputation has now been tarnished. And her maids have been telling her several times to just go to Comp Shore. And one thing I didn't realize about Krista is that and I was on TikTok, and I was just listening to other people give their recaps, and I didn't realize that for Krista, it was more like her not wanting to go to Comshore was more than just her wanting to be with Hangley as like, you know, her unrequited love for Hangley. It was more of the fact that like her title as Empress wasn't even secured. Like she just felt like with Navier it wasn't fair that Navier got to be Empress and whatever, and then like, you know, it just wasn't fair. Like she just like, I don't know what it was. It like Krista's character was just by far, I think, a little bit confusing. Like, what really was her motive? Like, besides the fact that, you know, she's in love with Hangley. But as to the reason why she didn't want to move, like she didn't want to go to Cumshire. So yeah. So fast forwarding, Krista ends up like wanting Hangley to take her as a mistress or whatever. And they have a whole trial. And next minute, you know, Krista's off to Compshire because Krista has no backing, which is ridiculous to me. Because I was just like, girl, what were you doing when your husband was on his deathbed? What were you doing? And it's even crazy to me, like, even Rasta. Like, Rasta also doesn't have a backing either. And it makes sense for Rasta because the nobles don't like her. The nobles do not like her. So it makes complete sense. But for someone to be a noble like Krista could have easily been able to like compete with Navier. But because she has no backing, she can't compete. And then also Hangley. Because, you know, Hangley, one thing Hangley finna do is protect Navier. That's what he gonna do. Of course. So, yes. I can't tell you how quick Hangley was like, he told the court, watch how you talk to my wife. Watch how you use your words carefully. Like, I was just like, yes, yes. Oh, I love me some Hangley. But anyway, so, yes. Like, ooh. But going back to what I was saying about Rasta, because I do want to, like, fully iterate this. So, the way that she was acting with Kaufman and how she was like, oh, like how she responded when Sovieshu had saw them in the woods, and then like even like around Navier when Kaufman was trying to have a conversation, a private conversation, mind you, with Navier. And it's just like, I just find it so disgusting because again, a lot of people not talking about this. They're not talking about this. It's so disgusting how like everybody, like every dude that likes Navier, she feels like she needs to just throw herself out them. She did this to Hangley in season 1 in the more earlier episodes. She did this to him. Like when, and I don't really remember if Navier was there or not, but I think she was there. But when, you know, Hangley went to the Eastern Empire, you know, to like flirt with Navier and woo her a little bit more, um and Rasta had came and she was trying to introduce herself to Hangley, and Hangley obviously clocked her because, you know, Hangley and Rasta is not that different, and that's also something that I want to quickly talk about. um and this is something that like even Navier had said, that like Hangley and Rasta look alike. Like not only do they look alike, but like they're the same, like personality wise. The only thing that's different is that Rasta is evil. Rasta is greedy, manipulative, jealous, everything. Like her crying, like when Rasta cries, she's doing this in order for the person to seek pity on her and so that she could get her way. She's literally like a freaking child. That's literally how Rasta is. Now, when Hangley does it, obviously it's because he's genuinely sad, especially when it comes to Navier. When Hangley is pouting and crying, it's because he doesn't want to do something or something that would eventually like hurt Navier, because already he's trying to like prove to her that like he loves her. So yeah. But pretty much. And the thing I do want to say on Hangley's part is that Hangley is just cruel, which is something that he has to be, especially as a ruler. A ruler must be cruel. Especially when the fact that like the Western empire was a kingdom before. You know, during their wedding, during Hangli and Navier's wedding, he, you know, announced that the Western Kingdom will now become an empire. And the reason why is because the Western Kingdom was not developed, and it's still not developed. He has to make the nobles respect him, because obviously they've been doing stuff that is against palace rules. And so they think that now that Hengli is now emperor and ruler, that they can sit here and do whatever they want to do. So now Hengli has to pretty much do the job that his brother before him was not able to do. So, yes. So that's pretty much that. But like I said, that's the reason why Hengli was able to clock Rasta, is because, again, they're the same way. But obviously Hengli knows how evil Rasta is, and he doesn't respect her because, again, everything that he did to Navier. Like, honey, Hengli saw like Sovieshu was not discreet about the disrespect that he had shown towards Navier. So of course Hengli knows. Everybody knows. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. So anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please do subscribe, and please share your thoughts on what do you think about season 2 and season 3 of Remarried Empress. Bye.